La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beloved viewers of MTA. We welcome you again to another edition of our program, Journey to Islam. As you know, in this program, we chronicle the journey of individuals who got converted into the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat fold. We bring them in to discuss the experience to serve as an inspiration for others who are on the journey of also joining the fold of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat. I am your host, Oladejo Sheriffdin, and on the edition today, we have an academic par excellence, a renowned professor, the person of Professor Abdulateef Aderemi Shotuyo. Professor Abdulateef is a professor of forestry and wildlife management from the Federal University of Belkuta. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sir.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You're welcome to our program, and it's an honor to have you on our program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, to begin with, would like to start this session with a background, a general background, your educational background, your family background, and your religious background in general.
I was born about 60 years ago at Djibouti, the quarters of Djibouti that we call Uduesha. So I happen to be Muslim by going by the name of Latif. My father was the secretary of our mosque in our quarters mosque. He was the secretary of the mosque. He was also an Alpha because he finished the Quran, and they normally call him Alpha Dauda, but he happens to be a civil servant. So I had my primary school and secondary school in Djibouti, Luba Primary School, Luba Secondary School, before I did my higher class in the Ogun State College of Education. They have a School of Basic Studies. So I did my A-level studies there before I proceeded to University of Ibadan for my first degree, my second degree, and then the PhD. And I got employed in Abeokuta, University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, then in 1992. And I rose through the ranks until I became a professor in 2021.
Alhamdulillah for your journey. So apparently, from what you've said now, you come from a religious and Muslim background, family-rooted Islamic background.
Yes.
So, having had that, what's your general experience, your general journey to the fold of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat? How did it unfold? We want you to share with us that experience.
Yes. What happened is that, as a young boy then, Islam, we knew we normally do 5 daily prayer, all those kind of general Islamic practices, but not as deep as when I became an Ahmadi anyway. So the journey to Ahmadiyya was, let me say, maybe I told you my father is an Alpha, maybe because of his prayers to, and I happen to be the firstborn of the family, So during my youth service, I lost my dad. So maybe probably that made me to have a rethink, I became a little more, religious after I lost my dad. So when I was doing my master's, that was when I came across this lady. I never knew she's an Ahmadi, I can't even know why I had interest in her,
So what location is that?
UI, University
UI,
of Ibadan,
okay.
yes. That was 1989, 90, thereabout. So, and I just told her that I would like to be my wife, sort of. These guys, you are very funny. So when I became persistent, okay. She introduced me to her parents. Incidentally, her father was a Sadar of Ansarullah Ahmadiyya then. Yes. So after introducing me to the dad now called me and called 2 of his friends. Then they had a meeting with me that, look, we know you are a Muslim, but this man is the first apart from the Amir being the head of the Ahmadiyya, even the Amir will be under him because he's the Sadar
Be the leader of the
of the elders section. That's so that I should think about it. That I can't come and pick a daughter without being an Ahmadi. But the man didn't force. He just said, okay, but he will assist me in this journey. So he gave me a lot of literatures. Then I began, even though as a young boy growing up also, my dad also had some, that I read a lot of things about Islam, but not from the Ahmadiyya point of view then, So Alhaji Balogun now gave me a lot of literatures, and I started reading. So I started getting convinced. Then he also invited me to Jalsa Sanala in Ilaru. I think that was 1990. So I attended the Jalsa. Then I think Movi Agbola was the Amir then. So if I was at that Jalsa, that I got totally convinced that no. Because normally you had a lot of stories by the side from other Muslims that, but you can't know anything until you get closer or you study a lot of things about that organization. So that was how I got totally convinced that I signed the bayat.
Okay, I would pick it from where you stopped. You said you from the outside, you get a lot of stories, a lot of thoughts about, okay, this is what Ahmadis are. So what are the misconceptions you had then? The stories that you said?
In Ijebu-Ode, we also have a Mahdi in Ijebu-Ode.
Mahdi Ijebu-Ode.
Yes.
It was prevalent then.
Yes. So
Mahdi from Ijebu-Ode.
the most thing they normally say is that they say the Mahdi is another prophet, that they even went as far as saying they have their own Quran. All those sort of things, But it was later, even when my dad died, that I started searching some of his collections, and I even found one Ahmadiyya
literature,
Quran inside this. Some of his cousins had been troubling him to also come and join. It was when I realized that most of those cousins of him they were age mates. They would come around, they would talk, But it was when he died that I was searching through it, and I said, so these are Ahmadiyya Quran. I never knew that. Even my dad used to have an Ahmadiyya Quran in the house, Something like that.
So, moving from that, what would you say is that particular aspect of the religion that's resonated with you when you started, coming close to the Ijama, that made you think, okay, this is where I should be going? What's that aspect of the religion that's really resonated with you?
Well, it's the proper understanding of Islam. You get it in the Jamaat. Then, even some of the practices, like I never knew anything about Tajud or whatever. Even when I was employed and I came to Abeokuta, before coming to Abeokuta, I never heard of itikaf or whatever, all those kind of practices before. And I challenge anybody, even in Abeokuta, to tell me that if they have practiced itikaf before 1990 in Abeokuta. Because it was when I came to the Shabada, and I don't need Ramadan, and I see people camping inside the mosque. I was like, what is this one? I said, is it itikaf now? That was the very first time. So there are so many of those. Is it waking up in the night for Tajud and all those kind of things? It was alien to us. Our role was we do the normal 5 daily prayer. During Ramadan, you do your Ramadan, you go for Tarawih and all those kind of things.
Alhamdulillah. So from what you've told us, from your background, you've made us realize that you're from a very well-grounded Islamic background, from Ijebu-Ode particularly, where we know that Islamically it's also well-grounded.
Yes.
So when you eventually made the decision of joining the fold of Ahmadiyya, how was it received by particularly your family members, your friends, your folks? How was it received?
Well, I would say maybe from my friends, they were a little bit you know, I would say hostile really, because really our friendship is complementary. You get from me, I get, you also get from you, know. But what really helped me was, before my signing the bayat, finally, there was this Alhaji in Djibouti then, who is like a family friend to us. Alhaji Oloko is late now. Allah be pleased with him.
Amen.
So he, being a friend of the family, he like sort of already prepared the background and prepared their mind towards me, and even was the one that told them that, look, where your son has gone to say he wants to go and marry, he's a
Alhaji
very,
was an
Ahmadi, yes.
Oh, okay.
Alhaji was an Ahmadi. Your son has gone to plug a mango where it's very high. So he won't have any choice that to become a member of our Jamaat. So the man already prepared the ground. So I didn't have any sort of problem with my immediate family. But the friends, some of them they withdrew because some of the things that we were doing together, they know that I won't be able to do with them because of
Could you give us examples of?
We normally go to parties. We enjoy ourselves. We have this kind of Muslim that sometimes you take some 1 or 2 shots of beer. You won't see anything wrong in it. But if you are an Ahmadi, you know that all those ones are not. Particularly if you are an Ahmadi that reads a lot, particularly reading literature from the Prophet Messiah, you won't be indulging yourself in all those.
So how were you able to handle the situation, particularly with your friends, whom you relate, you socialize together, and as you said, you benefit from them, they benefit from you. Yes. So when you eventually become an Ahmadi Muslim, you said maybe perhaps one or two become to withdraw sort of. How were you able to handle the situation, remaining friends with them, still being able to relate with them? How are you able to handle that part?
Well, like I said initially, we now have to draw boundaries. So it doesn't spoil anything. Exactly. Those who are ready to still continue will continue to be friends. Even we have some of them who are also very practicing, is Muslim, but they are not ready to make that journey yet. So and I also give them so many. My own is that, like the Quran itself said that la ikra fi din, that you don't let them understand by themselves. It will be more beneficial to them if it comes within rather than somebody forcing it on them. So they will not be.
Let's take a step back to when you were in UI. Yes. From what you said, it seems you met your relationship with the Jamaat started from when
I wanted to marry.
So what role would you say the Ahmadiyya community in UI then played in you finally getting a conviction?
And like examples? I said, it was when I went for my master's. When I was in the undergraduate level, my own was also, I didn't even know that the MSS, I wasn't even relating with MSS when I was in undergraduate, because I see some of them doing what Islam is saying we shouldn't do. So I decided this one are not supposed to be. They are just using MSS as a facade. That was my conclusion. Even right from secondary school, I never associated with any MSS or whatever, because if you are preaching something, you should be seen to be doing what you are preaching. So that was why I didn't. So I wasn't known to any member of the Jamaat when I was doing my masters, So I won't say they didn't play any role. It was when I started working, when I got employed in the university, that I met some Ahmadi brothers, and they took me in as one of them. That you think that they've known me for ages, the way they took me in. So that was one of the things that really said, solidify my association with the Jamaat.
Alhamdulillah, it's indeed an experience you've had. Dear viewers, we've been speaking with Professor Alhaj Abdulateef Aderemi Shotuyo, a professor of forestry and wildlife from the Federal University of Abeokuta here, and he's been sharing with us his experience and his journey to Islam, his journey to Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat. He's made us realize that his journey started through a very, interesting way, through the marriage route. It made us realize that he got in touch, he started his relationship with the Ahmadiyya through meeting the person who eventually became his wife. And since then, it's been cordial relationship, and it's been improvement, notwithstanding the fact that he also came from a very well-grounded, religious background back in Ijebu-Ode. But yet, he's been able to navigate, the challenges of becoming a member of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, in spite of his, religious background. So we continue with you, Professor Saab. Since, Alhamdulillah, you've had the opportunity of having both experience. You've had the experience of, before being an Ahmadi and now becoming, an Ahmadi. Though you've made us realize that before joining the Jamaat, you are what we would call you are a Muslim. You go along with the tenets of Islam generally. But now that you've joined the fold of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, how would you gauge your spiritual level, your spiritual development? Has joining the Jamaat been impactful towards your spiritual development?
Tremendously, a lot. Because before I became a member of the Jamaat, I couldn't read the Quran. Even though when we were young in the primary school, they put us in there. But fortunately, the imam that was supposed to be taking us was already very old, so he couldn't handle us. So we were not able to, conclude or even go a long way in the Quran. But when I became in fact, when I immediately met my wife, even she started becoming my Arabic, Islam, Arabic teacher, sort of. So she was the one that started the Asarina with me until when I got to Abeokuta. So one of the missionaries now, took it over, and I was able to read and finish the Quran. So that one is you can't quantify that kind of.
That's a tremendous achievement.
Achievement. Then in terms of, like I told you, any time there was Jalsa or there is any Itima, whatever, my own concern then was to buy literatures. So I would normally go with money for buying, books when I'm during Jalsa or during, Itima. Then, fortunately, the MTA came on board during the time of the fourth Khalifa. So I was an ardent listener, and there was a lot of gaining, listening to most of the programs then. So that also helped to improve one spirituality. And, unfortunately for me, maybe I would say I've been very lucky. When I showed up to the Jamaat in Abeokuta, after being I let me look for where Ahmadiyya Jamaat mosque is in Abeokuta. So I looked for the mosque. I was able to live with the mosque. Not quite a year when I introduced myself to the Jamaat in Abeokuta. They made me assistant general secretary to the Jamaat, as you can see. So, and not quite long after, I became the substantive general secretary. And I became Koid Udam. So it was as if somebody, this man, maybe Almighty Allah loved me so much. You always been putting me where I will have a choice to have to be able to, grow and develop spiritually. So,
Alhamdulillah. One thing I find interesting, and I would like for you to also, emphasize upon, is the fact that, in spite of the fact that you got in touch with the Jama'ah through perhaps the person you eventually married,
yes,
you said that anytime you're going for the Jamaat program, you always have
I
your fund
will
for
make sure,
getting books.
yes.
That means your conviction is not just about because of the marriage, but
No,
you went
no,
ahead
no.
to get that
In
personal
fact,
conviction for
I
yourself.
can tell you that what I know as a converted Ahmadi, my wife does not know half of it, because I'm not sure she had read as much literature about Ahmadiyya as I've read. So if I can't go to any, is either Itima or Jalsa, that I won't have money set aside for buying the literatures. It's not possible. I must have money for any. If I'm unable to buy as much as I want to buy, I won't be happy for during that Itima or during that Jalsa. I must have money to buy. So I was able to read a lot of books, a lot of literature by either the Promised Messiah or by other scholars of the Jamaat. So what I know, if I'm a lot of born Ahmadi can boast of half of what I know through what I've read. So
ultimately, your journey to Islam, Ahmadiyya, is based on pristine personal conviction.
That's it.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes.
Let's take a step a bit backwards, sir. As an academic yourself,
Yes.
you know, in the university environment, you're faced with a lot of persons from different background, different
Yes.
belief or something. And, you know, there is also the Islamic community within the university. Were you faced with any particular challenge being, you know, a member of the Ahmadiyya and perhaps a minority sort of within
Yes.
the Muslim community of the university? Were you faced with any sort of challenge? And if yes, how were you able to, you know, surmount that and, you know, still keep your role as a member of the Jamaat?
Well, one would say is challenge, really. Maybe I would just say maybe misgivings from them. But when they now see you that when it comes to exhibiting Islam, we have few of us here who are in the university here who are members of the Jamaat. But if they want to do anything that requires dedication and honesty, you find out that they will charge it with the Ahmadi brother, because they know that you are going to deliver, that you won't be found wanting whatever assignment they are going to give you. So even if they have, you know, misgiving one way or the other, but they will still defer to you, because they know that when it comes to, you know, exhibiting the true Islamic, you know, tenets, that you know they can count on you. And some of them I confess to them to that we are one of those people that we are looking. They are always proud to showcase you, especially amongst the other religious groups. You see, he's a Muslim brother, because they know you are doing what Islam says Muslims should do.
Alhamdulillah, I mean, so I'm still picking as an academic yourself. So
Yes.
I'm picking on the fact of, I find it very interesting, your personal journey and your personal effort to get, you know, to study about the Jamaat itself. So from all the literatures you've been able to get a hold of, which one would you say has been very impactful, or has the most impact on your convictions, sir?
I would say it's the philosophy of the teachings of Islam. I read it more than 3 times.
Allah Akbar.
Because I say, wow, this is what Islam says a Muslim should do. So then when I also read the exposition of the 10 conditions of bayat by the current
Mirza Masroor Ahmad.
I also get a lot of education and conviction from that.
Alhamdulillah. So finally, sir, as a person who've had the experience of both sides, what would be your advice to persons who are about to make that decision themselves of joining the fold of Ahmadiyya, or who have recently made the decision and facing maybe 1 or 2 challenges? What would be your advice to them moving forward?
Well, my advice would be that they should get grounded by getting hold of literatures written by whether Imam Mahdi himself, alayhi salam, or by scholars of the Jamaat. Nobody should rely on hearsay or write-ups from outside sources. Get enough. There are so many literatures that you can get within the Jamaat that will make you grounded, and you feel that yes, you are on the right path. That God has really blessed you to God has opened your eyes to see the truth and to receive the light of truth.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullah khairan. It's indeed a pleasure for having you on our program today, and we believe that our listeners have been very much inspired with your experience. Alhamdulillah, dear viewers, we've had the pleasure of having Professor Abdulateef here with us, and he has shared with us his experience, his journey to Islam Ahmadiyya, particularly the fact that his journey to Islam Ahmadiyya was not just out of his relationship with the person who eventually became his wife, but his personal and undeniable quest for knowledge. He was very much grounded personally in the knowledge, in the teachings of the Jama'ah before eventually joining the fold of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat officially. This shows that when a person seeks conviction, the first most important aspect is to get a personal conviction via knowledge, via understanding of the tenets of the Imam Mahdi salam, of the teachings of Imam Mahdi salam, and the tenets of Islam from as brought to us by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jazakumullah khairan, Prof. Saib, for having us, and we've been inspired by your experience. Dear viewers, Jazakumullah khairan for staying tuned to this program, and we've come to the end of this episode. For further feedback, comments, please contact us on africa@mca.tv. Until we meet again, Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Rasulullah